Hey guys, Casey Blake here with Stendar.
Sup?
This is hour number two of our sector creation guide, Faction Turn Zero. Um, if you guys missed section one, the first hour is back on the channel. You should probably go watch that first.
Because this will all be very confusing.
Just saying, there's some stuff covered in there that you're gonna want to know before you see this.
Right.
Um, so we've done the bottom left sector. Let's go up and look at Doxiadis in 102.
Okay.
There's two planets here. So, I come up and I bring up this. We're still talking about factions. We're still talking about planets. I look at this Rahimi. I'm like, all right, we've got a warm, breathable, fully terraformed, humans can eat the local life. There's no reason that, if all the technology failed tomorrow, people would be able to live on this planet forever. Or not forever, but for as long as humanly possible.
Right. For at least as long as we've been living on Earth.
Right. For hundreds of thousands of years, people could continue to live on this planet.
Right.
So they have tyranny, and they have a preceptor archive. And the preceptor archive is it's an archive that keeps track of technology all the way back to Earth. So I'm looking at this preceptor archive combined with tyranny, combined with the fact that this is Hades Theta. And I'm like, all right, I want these guys to be like something about Caesar's empire. They just love the Rahimi people. They want, Caesar salads, and they call their military the phalanx or the chariot or something like that. They have access to all of this old, all of these old myths from that era of Caesar and Rome.
Because that's the literature that was in their archive.
Exactly. So they have all of this stuff that's part of what they believe in. And then the preceptor archive, part of it is that, at least for this one, is these people want to take it out to the sector, take it out to the planets that lost their technology, take it out to the 19th century planets and bring them up to date, bring them up to tech level 4, share with them their culture. It's a little bit religious missionary feeling to it, but it's just
dictatorship.
But it's science and history. The tyranny, I don't know if that would extend out to other planets.
Oh, I would imagine
if they did colonize.
I imagine it's totally where the eagle goes, Rome goes.
For the glory of Rome.
For the glory
probably.
Of Rome. If we're here, it's ours now.
Right.
No, if it's Rome, everywhere they go, go is going to be a terrible fighting battle of expanding the territories.
All spike drives lead to Rome.
Possibly to their own demise, as it was for Rome in overexpansion.
Right. So I think this planet is cool.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
I don't know that much else about it. I think we decided that there's like Greeks and Italians and other members of the European Union have gone and settled there. But we'll get into that a little more later. So then we look at Villa Royale. Villa Royale.
We keep calling it Royale, like it's Casino Royale.
Hey. I might just change the spelling. I'm the Space Master of Space.
You're the Space Master.
So this is one of the other planets that I looked at and didn't know exactly what to do with it. I don't know that it needs to be a faction. If it is a faction, it's definitely one of the minor factions. They're only tech level 3, which means they don't really get into space very much. And they have a toxic atmosphere on a cold planet. Like, this is not a planet that I want to live on. These people are stuck there, but I don't want to go live there. So what's interesting about this planet? What can I give my players to make them interested in this planet? So I'm looking back up at the stuff that I know about the other planets around here, and we've already talked about the Badria system, which has the other Tech Level 5 planet where everyone's in cryostasis and there's zombies and crazy shit. And I decided that for that planet, for their jump gate, I wanted that to have been settled by the Nigerians and the Pan-Indian countries. You know, the book has in it random table generation for names and place names and stuff about the different cultures from, you know, China, Japan, India, Nigeria, Russia, English. So it has all this stuff and these random tables in the book. So I know that I want to include, if it's in the book, I want to try to include it in my universe because it's just more flavor and more things to play with.
And more stats for us to use on things.
Right. So maybe this top part, because I've already established that there's, you know, the Jala people are sort of American. The SSP or the SPP, the Syncretic Protestant Pagans. Yeah. I think they're, you know, we're white Americans, and then the Adoni sector is Russians, and they sort of spread north and to the right from there. Shuba, I decided when I made the Jin Yao Corporation, which is, I got that name from the political randomly generated corporations. If you haven't showed that table,
I'm gonna do it. Right?
Yeah, show that table.
So yeah, we use this. It's huge. It's a big old freaking list of corporations. We've grabbed tons of awesome ones off of this Jin Yao company right there. Robotics. That's how we tied in the robotics part of the Jin Yao company. Again, this generator is fantastic for giving you just little plugs. It doesn't do all the work for you. It just gives you ideas for where to take the story. And I love that about this because, you know, we're GMs. We're not, you know, we're not reading a novel. We're writing one, and this just gives you some tags to help you along the way. It doesn't do the work for you, and it doesn't take away the fun that is designing a universe, which is a daunting task. It gives you just that little edge you need to help you along the path. Another one I like is Spiker Multistellar, one of my favorites. We'll talk about him in a little bit.
Get to that.
We'll get to that. Getting ahead of myself.
So yeah, so I'm looking at this Doxiatus space, and I know that there are Nigerians in this area. I know that there's the Pan-Indian people in this area, and I know that there are some type of European Union, Greeks, Romans, Italians, whatever, in this area. And I'm like, all right, so this planet is under police state, and there are seagoing cities. And I look down here, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And is it under places?
Places.
Somewhere it says, like, the only island. Anyway, I took that idea that maybe on this, because it doesn't say that there's no land on this planet, it just says that there's seagoing cities. So maybe the island is controlled by the Greeks, the Caesar. The Caesar is running this police state on this island, but then the Nigerians and the Pan-Indians have their own cities that are out in the sea, and they're not affected by the police state. But depending on where my players show up, if my players show up at the police state, the people that run the police state are going to tell them that the seagoing cities are, they're horrible terrorist savages. And if they show up at the seagoing cities, they're going to tell them that the islanders are just horrible fascist, crazy people that are, subjecting their own people to slave treatment. And I'm excited to see how my players um, interact with this whole planet if they get there anytime in the near future. Um, so yeah, I think I'm excited to see what happens there. Let's go ahead and move up to Badria, which these three planets are. They held me up more than any other three planets in the whole sector, probably. Um, One of these is Sana. The You okay?
Yep, sorry.
Okay.
I have a drippy nose, and it's become
Oh,
a
you
thing.
blew your nose. I thought you were shaking some maracas or something.
Yeah,
So
just I wanted to add some flavor, a little flavor to the moment. That was
one
maraca
of
time.
these planets in this horrible, horrible sector called Badriaha is Sana, which is the Tech Level 5
Zombie.
cryosleep zombie planet that we've already talked
Zombie
about.
Space Station Central.
The other two planets are Mutlak, which has gigantic spiked sea monsters that the people are harvesting, farming, whatever. It's an ocean world, and most of the year it's cold. They have a temperate summer, but most of the year it's freaking cold. And Mutlik is not a planet that I want to go to. One of my players picked that as their home world after we talked about it, and I'm excited to see. Um, this is another one that I'm pretty sure most of Mutlak came from those same Nigerian and Pan-Indian settlers. So I'm excited to see how that planet sort of evolves with my players' input. Then I have Warda. Warda? Is that how you'd say that?
That's how I would say that.
I have Warda, and for a long time I thought this said Psionics Workshop. It does not. It does not say that. It says Psionics Worship,
Yeah.
and that it's an abandoned colony. So I think this colony, um, I don't know, I don't know why I decided this. I can't even think of it, but I think I want to take the Nigerian part out of this and make this planet just, the Pan-Indian colonists tried to come and colonize here, and the colony failed, and they had to cut off supplies. Everything sort of didn't work out. It has this toxic atmosphere. That's one of the tags. Toxic atmosphere that even in an exosuit, the invasiveness of this atmosphere over a certain amount of time will get through your exosuit and make you sick. And all of the local life on this planet is immiscible, which means human beings are allergic to it, can't eat it for whatever reason. And they're stuck in 19th century technology. So how are these people surviving on this planet? And I'm like, wait a minute, they're worshiping psionic people. So the psionic percentage of this population is protecting the non-psionics from the toxic atmosphere. Maybe they're turning the immiscible biosphere into, edible biosphere. If you look at, let's look at Dune. They have the huge sack of poison that the one lady, when she takes a mouthful of it, she converts it into not poison, and then it changes the whole bag into their hallucinogenic. I mean, whatever I don't know, whatever Dune, whatever happens in Dune when they have the brain orgy.
Right. Whatever happens in Dune stays in Dune.
So
Quick
somehow
sidebar.
these psionics. Go ahead.
Quick sidebar, just for those. I have the manual pulled up here on the left-hand side. I'm going to drop that in on here. Looking at, you were talking about the invasive toxic atmosphere. I found it in the book. So basically, as a mechanic, so say you're a GM and you want to make that into a mechanic for gameplay. Someone goes, okay, we have to go to the toxic world. We got to do it. So what it basically boils down to is your characters don't die. What it does is turn into a mechanic. The suits have to work a lot harder to keep the molecules out. So they have to flush oxygen to push the molecules out, meaning that on most invasive atmospheres, you cut oxygen supply durations in half at best, which makes oxygen more important resource. They can't go out as long, and that's how you can make it as a mechanic for your players. It lets you as the GM control how it actually affects the game instead of just saying, well, you can't stay out there long, or you're dead, or you have to try to roll damage somehow every so many turns. You could do those things, but this is a simple mechanic that just means, okay, this world's toxic. You have half your amount of airtime. So what are you going to do with it? And it's a comfortable way to do that. And there's a description for every type of atmosphere, and every tag that we've spoken about has a full-length paragraph description for it. So I wanted to go ahead and show that so you guys could see it.
Yeah. No, we probably should have talked about that last hour, but yeah, every single one of these tags came off of a random table that exists in that book. You can do all of this without a computer, with just a set of dice and the rules in the book. This computer program, the link's down in the doobly-doo. This computer program just does all of that for you, totally random generated out of the book, which is cool for me.
Saves us a lot of time, but you can totally do it from the book. So that's good to know that you have a text backup that can give you a bit more of a description other than just what you have here, because Abandoned Colony has an explanation. Psionic Worship has an explanation. I wouldn't have known what immiscible biosphere meant if I wasn't looking it up and go, oh, it means this.
Exactly.
If you look up billions of inhabitants, you find that it says this is extremely rare in the sector. It must have been a massive colonization effort, and it will have lots of upgraded this and that and the other. It's little things like that the book can kind of shed light on, that I think is excellent. I think it's just good writing.
I need to get that guy's name, because the guy that wrote Stars Without Number, he's made a bunch of other games, and it's all very old school Renaissance, and his specialty in my mind is random tables.
Kevin Crawford,
thank you. I knew his name yesterday, but I couldn't think of it tonight.
It's okay. It's amazing, the titles on the front of the book.
He is so good at random tables. I hope that I can make random tables as good as Kevin Crawford someday. Anyway, so basically, wrap up Warda real quick before we move on. The non-psionic people on this planet worship the psionic people on this planet, who protect them from the toxic atmosphere and make life livable on this planet, because even with a tech level 4 spacesuit, you're going to have a bad day on Warda. But these people are making it work with 19th century technology because their psionics are awesome.
Yeah, they have good psionics.
So yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, should be cool.
Go up and hit Priam, and let's talk about Alphys first. Alphys. So all I knew about this planet was that they have secret masters, and they have a rigid culture, and it's a pretty nice planet. This is one of the billions of inhabitants. The planet is completely terraformed. Life is good here. This is one of the... compared to a lot of the planets in this sector, this is kind of a paradise world.
Space station planet, this is pretty nice.
So, I'm talking with my players. This is last week, a week before that, something like that. I sat down with my players and we were doing character creation, and one of my players wants to be Japanese, and one of my players wants to have come from a very rigid Japanese society. And I know what planet that is. Hold on. And I open my notebook and I flip over. I'm like, all right, you're from Alphys. And now, because of what he said, I know that Alphys is Japanese. Mm-hmm. So I have another use besides my Jiao Yin Corporation in the Shuba sector is Japanese. I also know that Alphys in Priam is Japanese. I don't know yet what the secret masters are. I'm thinking that the secret masters of this planet are going to be psionics, because I've already got alien secret masters on another planet. I've got AI secret masters on other planets. So I'm thinking there's going to be a psychic cabal that controls this planet. We'll see.
Right.
I reserve the right to change my mind later, but that's where I'm
Space
at on
Master.
that planet right now. Um, I'm excited for that one. I don't know how long it will be before any of my characters get to make it to their homelands,
Or even
but
bother going.
well, eventually it's going to happen if I have to write the missions out myself. But I am excited to see what happens when this one player in particular makes it back to his homeworld. He's one of the only I'm playing with 5 player characters, and 3 of them have never played any role playing game before. So one of the 2 that has a little bit of experience is one of the ones from this planet. So I want to.
Is that
I
Sean? Is that Sean?
No, Sean only knows about video game RPGs.
Oh, and he
He's
played
never
with us
played.
that one time.
Brandon.
Ah, Brandon, yes.
Brandon is the Japanese guy from Alphys. So then the other planet here is Fatima, and they're sectarians, and they have a decent planet. You can go outside and survive without a spacesuit. So that's good. It's temperate to warm, so I'm thinking, savanna, Australian outback, that type of climate. And I'm looking at the sectarians, and I don't know what kind of sectarians I want to put on this planet. So I go up and I look at the religions, and I'm going through. You have the religions up?
I do.
And I see right there in the middle New Book Muslims and Neo-Fundamentalist Muslims. And I'm like, all right, that's it. The Neo-Fundamentalist Muslims settled here in the last however many years. And
Right.
then somebody writes a new book or has found a new book or whatever it means to be new book. These Muslims have some new ideas. There's a new holy book. Someone in the faith's past penned or discovered a text that is now taken to be the holy writ and the expressed will of the divine. So,
And we all know how well that goes.
yeah. So this planet, right now, there's no factions here. This planet just exists. There's some tension in the air on Fatima.
Right? But we could definitely consider this as a relatively new occurrence,
Right. I'm saving room for the players to intervene and fix the divide on this planet. And I'm also saving room for the players to intervene and turn this into an all-out civil war where I have to make 2 factions and I have to put them really at teeth with each other. I actually think we made factions for the New Book Muslims and the Neo-Fundamentalist Muslims. Yeah, we did.
Tracker.
Yeah, no, I have 2 minor factions for them.
We do.
Um,
And they are already at war. They are destroy the foe.
no, they're already at Destroy the Foe. All right, so no, there's a civil war on this planet.
My bad.
There's a religious war happening on this planet right now. They're gonna figure out who's right and who has the will of God behind them. What's interesting to me is that I think these are Nigerian Muslims.
Okay.
I don't see any reason why not. So far, that is what I have in this part of the sector. But now that I say that, I don't know that I have any Middle Eastern designated planets at all.
Well,
So
which
I'll
is
have to look
fine.
into that.
Which is fine. You don't have to include all the cultures.
Right. At the same time, I know that the next planet that we're going to go talk about in Caxius is definitely Nigerian. I decided that fairly early on.
Right. Yemen.
Yum. So this planet, I'm looking at it, and it's another hostile space, freak geology, but the planet's fine. Breathable mix, warm temperature.
There's just no life on it.
yeah. So they bring in some life. Maybe they had to terraform this planet 600 years ago or 1,000 years ago or whatever. But this planet's pretty nice. Um, it's so far out of the center of the sector, and it has hostile space. I'm like, all right, so there's some kind of space pirates out here, and I'm thinking about it, and we kept coming back to this planet that night. We stayed up all night talking about factions, and I decided to make this like this planet is Tortuga. This is the planet that all the pirates in the sector come to hide out. They come here to
To
blow their
trade.
blow their money, and I'm sick of working for this captain. I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna port out in Tortuga and find me a new ship to sail on.
Right.
So this is where the Tortugan Brotherhood calls home. Um, to the rest of the sector that don't really know that, Yum is the planet. Like there are two planets in sector that have the ability to make alcohol, um, which is then exported to the rest of the sector because I was going to be stuck in warp space for a week, I would probably drink.
Right.
Uh,
Probably drink.
so,
I played tabletop RPGs.
well, fair enough. Fair enough. So, um, I think the Tortugan Brotherhood and on planet Yum has the ability to make and export alcohol. So that's their front. That's their above board corporation that they use to cover up the fact that they're just a bunch of freaking pirates.
Right.
So yeah, I like that planet. I think that the planet looks like Swiss cheese. You know what I mean? There are just huge
Craters.
caves, craters, and th- if you looked at this planet from far enough away, it would just look like a big rock with a bunch of huge craters in it. But when you go down inside the craters, that's where it's like a tropical paradise growing all around the
Right.
inside of this huge cave, and there's space docks and um, brothels and whatever else pirates like
Every
in
piratey
these
thing
huge
that
caves.
you can think of.
Right, and it's very the coves of Tortuga.
Right.
So I'm excited about that planet too. Um, let's jump over to Shaina, and Ismail. This is another preceptor archive, just like um, my the Roman Empire, and the Roman Empire is trying to spread their knowledge from their preceptor archive, spread their culture, spread their everything. This planet's only tech level 3. It has millions of inhabitants, and it's in this strange spot in the middle of the sector where if anyone from this sort of big cluster in the center wanted to go north, it almost makes the most sense for them to touch this planet on their way, or touch this hex
Do a
on their
refuel.
way to do a refuel there, yeah, like you said, and get their life support filled up. And um, I think this is a big trade hub. Even though it's only tech level 3, um, I think there are definitely people on this planet that have access to tech level 4, but for the most part, most people here are stuck at
Right.
tech level 3.
It was brought
Um,
in
Right.
by other planets because it's a trade hub.
I look at this preceptor archive here, and this wound up being the Ismaili Protectorate, and I wound up calling them the Protectorate because they like worship the information in the archive, and they very much want to keep it to themselves. Don't come here come here and trade, come here and give us your money, but do not come to our preceptor archive. We don't want that. Most people in the sector don't know that there's a preceptor archive here. And then they have freak weather. We decided this planet was like ridiculous thunderstorms, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this
Also-
planet has.
Native Americans.
Yeah, exactly.
This
Okay.
one's Native Americans.
Yeah, I need to talk to John Smith and find out what tribe has a name for him,
Right, and they use
and
that for this tribe.
that's going to be the tribe that sent colonists into outer space that wound up here.
And all of a
And I
sudden, John Smith's going to care about that planet.
Yeah, and it's gonna like their preceptor archive might be,
Native American heritage and
Native
culture.
American culture all the way up to maybe the whole history of America from
Yeah, when we showed up. And
right and more than just North America
all
Native
of
Americans, but yeah,
Native America,
the
Incas, Aztecs, all
Mayans,
of it. Yeah,
right. So
they were the first out here because the Mayans actually had space travel, and that's where they went.
whoa, whoa. So yeah,
Anything is possible, Space Master.
that's cool. I'm that's another cool planet that, you know, I want to know what they have in their preceptor archive. I want to learn about what kind of stuff I can put in there and how does how does this Native American culture look at what in Greek culture would be Hades? You know, can I find a sort of connecting node
Theology, almost.
where
Of
I
it, yeah.
can sort of touch those two things together and bang them off each other and see what happens. So I think that's going to be cool. Um, so now let's go look at the top right. Um, these all three of these hexes are controlled by one super hegemon. Let's start at 701 at Castor. Um, so here we have another Tech Level 3 trade hub with an unbraked AI. And
What
at
that
first,
means, what that means is that the AI does not have any restrictions on what it can do. It's not
oh,
braked.
right.
I would
Braked.
describe it. It's not braked, meaning it doesn't have the brake. The brakes are off. It doesn't.
Yeah,
It can do
got
whatever
no
it wants.
brakes.
It's fully sentient and can do anything it wants to do within the limits of its reach.
So, so this planet, to me, looking at it, airless, warm with biosphere remnants. So it's a thin atmosphere at least. So you have to have an oxygen tank to get around on the planet's surface. The trade hub, I want it to either be a space station or sort of a big open air, um, you know, outside mall on the planet.
But you have to have
Um,
a spacesuit
but
on to walk around it.
no, somehow they're creating a false atmosphere over the trade hub.
Ah, okay.
You know
Cool.
what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
There's not an atmosphere of the whole planet, but there's a false atmosphere over this trade hub.
Okay, cool.
Um, so so I have this trade hub, and then I have this unbraked AI that's, I guess, in charge of this trade hub. Why what is this? Why does this unbraked AI give a crap about this trade hub? I don't know. Let's go. Let's see what else is around here. So we go and look at the other planets, and this was all done the night that Alex and I were sitting in the same room.
Right.
So I look at the next planet up, the Maganas, Priyanka, and this is a tech level 2, 19th century tech warlords with a eugenic cult. And I'm like, what? What am I? This doesn't help me with my AI problem. So I go and I look at the next one, up again, Porporogenesis, and I,
Genitos.
Genitos. And I look at Leda, and I'm like, all right, there we go. Tech level 4, heavy industry, heavy mining. Yes, the AI is running a mining operation here and selling it through his trade hub and getting people from the Maganas,
Tier 2
this
planet.
tier tech level 2 planet. He's harvesting people from there to use them in his mining operation. All right, awesome. So let's go look at the corporations. So I go and I look through the corporations, and I looked at the asteroid mining, and I was like, Daybreak Cycle, that doesn't really feel right. I go down and I find planetary mining, Spiker
I take
Multistellar.
credit for picking Spiker Multistellar the name. I totally felt
Bam.
it. It felt good.
Spiker Multistellar. The name of the AI that is in control of all three of these uh, hexes that contain 4 planets, his name is Spiker, and he runs the Spiker Multistellar Corporation. And go ahead and tell him about Spiker. It was sort of your baby.
Right. Spiker Multistellar, the way that I envision that character playing out is that he was a braked AI that was a massive mining corporation's AI, and he ran all of their automated systems, all of their machinery, everything. He ran it all. No big deal. It was his job. And at some point along the way, the brakes were taken off. And very quickly, he took over the corporation. Now, everyone that you'll ever ask in this entire sector, Spiker Multistellar is a person. Is a dude, and and no one ever talks to him. He always has someone running around doing his business for him. But as far as the public at large are aware, Spiker Multistellar is just the CEO of the company. And in my mind, he has one job, and it's still part of that original code. He's unbraked now, which means he's gained some more personality than he had when he was braked. But it's all a game. It's all just a game, and his job, the way to win his game, is to mine the best, to do the best mining. And what requires that is people to run some of his equipment or do part of his things. And so this little tech level 2 planet that we have here, this where are we? Maganus, there it is, got it.
Yeah, Maganus.
It's got warlords, and it's got Eugenical, it's 19th century technology. We're talking black powder rifles, steam engine trains, the Wild West. Like, that's the time period. So what's that AI doing on this planet? In my mind, this whole planet is just a game of Sims to him. He's micromanaging the planet. He's controlling government.
Civilizations 5.
It's Civilizations 5. He's been playing with this planet since its creation, and he's in the 19th century stage. And he pulls people out when he needs them to do stuff, and otherwise he just leaves his game alone. He takes care of it, and it's his thing. Now, real quick, because it relates, we're going to jump over to the asset tracker in our Excel spreadsheet.
Oh yeah,
and we're
I forgot you did that.
We're gonna go down to Spiker Multistellar. He's a hegemon, so he has lots of assets, which we'll talk about how you give assets and how many they get here after a little bit. But one of the things he has is what's called a Panopticon Matrix. What this does, and I'll read the description for you. Panopticon Matrix facilities weave braked AI intelligence analysis into a web of observation capable of detecting the slightest evidence of intrusion on a world. Every rival stealth asset on a planet must succeed a cunning versus cunning test at the beginning of every turn or lose their stealth. The owner gains an additional die on all cunning attacks and defenses on this planet. Now, we gave Multistellar the highest cunning we possibly could. He's all about intelligence, all about being sneaky and cunning. So we gave him 3 Panopticon matrices so that he could have 100% unbroken, constant omnipresence on all 3 of these worlds. So it's all just a big game to him. And right now he's up in the top right corner playing his game. It's not a big deal. He's not trying to take over the world. He's not heavy mining on your planet when you wake up in the morning. He's just in his little area. Now, introduce the players into that, become an enemy of something like this, of an enemy this strong. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm in love with this character. This is my favorite faction in the whole game, and I cannot wait to see what happens in this little dance.
So yeah, Spiker. There's a 4th planet up here. Saris. Yeah, they're out of contact and restrictive laws. I think that's all Spiker's doing.
Yeah.
He definitely controls all 4 of these planets in these 3 hexes.
Yep.
This planet, I decided, this is the only planet where they grow tobacco. So Spiker has this trade hub, this huge mining and industry planet. He has this other planet that he just farms, human bodies and laborers from. and he's the only supplier of tobacco in the whole sector. So, he's got kind of a monopoly on several things. And I wound up deciding that these three planets are going to represent my, Chinese colonists, Mandarin, and Cantonese are probably the two most common languages here. And I'm I'm a big fan of Spiker. We talked about games a lot that night, and he's definitely, Spiker loves to play games, and I don't know what that's going to mean for my player characters.
Right. But I love that. He was the first AI we built that night.
Yeah.
We built him, and then we built Anita, and is there one more in here somewhere?
The three, the Trinity
the three,
that we talked about.
The Trinity and Anita are braked. And even if the Trinity's not braked, it doesn't function like a regular AI would because they're arguing with each other. So it's kind of inert at the moment. It's not so much of a big deal. It has a huge religious following, but it's not the same amount of self-awareness that, Spiker is a character. Like, I imagine Spiker has a voice and a badass-looking office that he doesn't even need to use. But just little things like that. Like, these are the things he cares about. And he's a huge impacting force and may become a huge protagonist or antagonist in this whole galactic mix-up. I fell in love with this character as soon as we started designing him, and I cannot wait to see what goes down. Did we decide that the ship was sold is a multi-stellar?
Spiker multistellar. The PCs. I'm going to sell them a ship right off the bat that I designed. It's a cargo frigate, and it's going to have the Spiker Multistellar logo on the side. I want that name at least in their heads during episode 1. I want to give them that name. Episode 1. This is an important corporation in your sector. Spiker Multistellar.
I just pulled up the photo of the ship so that they can take a look at it.
Yeah, I found that ship design. And I love it. I fell in love with that ship design. Thank you, Star Wars.
Right, they have a cargo ship that they use. It's actually, as you can see, they have these huge containers. We decided that each one of those can hold about 50,000 tons of goods. They're all about the size of a football field. And the ship is just, I think it's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's perfect. It should be really interesting. So that's Spiker. And I'm tickled to death. I cannot wait to see what happens in that corner of our sector.
Maybe we didn't talk about it since then, but 50,000 tons is way too much. I went and looked in the book at how ship tonnage works out, and like by the rules, the most they should be allowed to ever carry on their frigate is 100 tons. But because
it's want them ship
to be more important than that, I'm going to say they can carry like 200 tons. Okay. But it has to do with the way that the space just works out with the way the rules are written.
Each one of those containers can carry 1 cup of noodles. 1 cup of noodle.
Whoa. I said 100 tons, man.
I know. I'm just being silly now.
Okay, so let's move on to
Pelasgon. Where now?
Pelasgon?
Yes, equally exciting.
So this one has regional hegemon right as one of the tags.
Which totally, we were like, right before this, we said, okay, no more regional hegemons. We're done. It's perfect. We have enough. And then we pulled up this page and we're like, man.
I guess we're going to have one more.
Which was perfect.
So I looked at this and I don't know. Nothing really yells out to me. Like, this is definitely either a space station or some kind of. The planet is temperate, but there's no oxygen. The inert gas means there's some kind of atmosphere and some kind of air there, but no oxygen and no native life. And there's only 10, 20, 30, 40,000 people here. And it's only tech level 3, so what do I need to care about this planet? I don't know. And I looked at Kartik, and there's two more planets there that, this one is bubble cities, but the whole world has gone feral, and it's tech level 3, and the people are all, savages that are fighting with each other and causing problems for each other. And then I go look at Lycomedes, and I'm like, all right, there are warlords on this planet, but again, they're tech level 3, and they have a pilgrimage site. So for some reason, some religious organization, I guess it doesn't have to be religious, but some either religious or political group pilgrimages here for some reason. What the heck am I going to do with these 3 planets that's going to give me a reason to put a regional hegemon here?
This one was a head scratcher.
Well, we wound up looking at what we'd already created for the sector and what was missing. And what we were missing was some sort of criminal element.
We had the pirates, but that didn't really fit. That's like an aggressive, possible enemy kind of situation.
Right.
But that's like a private club. You can only get into that club if you're one of the pirates. We didn't have a Vegas.
Exactly. That was what we wound up deciding, was that the Pelasgon, the planet there, Autionia, would be Vegas. And it's all dirty, underhanded, like the creation of Vegas was, and the mob, and Chicago, and New York, and the Prohibition, and all of these gangsters, stirring it up. So I wound up deciding to make them Irish, or Irish and English, because I'm interested in that. I have ancestry in that, so I made this an Irish casino resort called Fiddler's Green. So, come on down to Fiddler's Green Resort and Casino, blah blah blah. And the whole thing.
The vids that are pumped around the galaxy, it's this, it's casino, it's right. Buffalo Wild Run, it's all this great stuff.
So this planet,
Vegas and Atlantic City all wrapped up into one.
So I went. Was that? We found bring up the corporations again, and
what are we looking for?
The Pippinger Band.
The Pippinger Band.
So we were looking through the corporations, trying to decide who would either open a casino or have a front or some kind of
something just weird, something sketchy.
A cover story. This is our cover story.
So we clicked on the Pippinger Band, and the reputation is Front for Planetary Government's Espionage Arm.
And I'm like, yes, that's the one. That's the one that I want. So, because who's gonna think, oh, we're the Pippinger Band. We're nice Irish folk, Nobody's gonna have a problem with them.
No, they're not gonna look into that at all.
So they're exploring Lycomedes and Arieto, the 2 planets in Kartik that are they've sort of fallen to the wayside, and they find out on Arieto there's this gas, and they get a hold of this gas. Did I say Arieto? Because I meant Lycomedes.
It's Lycomedes.
On Lycomedes, they find this gas, and they're using this gas. They're synthesizing it to make this drug, and we decided. We wound up looking at. I looked up Lycomedes, and according to Greek mythology, Lycomedes was the emperor that hid Achilles amongst his daughters when someone came looking for Achilles. And I'm like, that's perfect. They find this gas on Lycomedes that they're using to make this drug, and the name of the drug, we talked about it back and forth, big brainstorming session. We wound up calling it Achilles, and then a couple days later I thought of calling it's called Achilles Hector. The 2 antagonists, I guess protagonists, I don't know. They're back and forth with each other.
Yeah.
From the Iliad, and Achilles Hector is this blue-green gas that comes in like a whipped cream can that you huff, and it gets you high and makes the lonely weeks stuck out in space much better. Hold on, let me get my notebook. I went
You
and
have a
looked at
description of it.
I went and looked at on Wikipedia. I looked up science fiction drugs and medicines, and there's a list of every drug from every video game, sci-fi novel, from Final Fantasy to
PPB distributes an aerosol drug called Achilles Hector. It comes in a much like a whipped cream can, purple green with an A and H on the side. Achilles for green gas for joy and happiness and a sense of accomplishment. And Hector is a purple gas that is a painkiller and an aphrodisiac.
So yeah. Where did I write that down at your house?
You texted it to me.
I texted you
Yes,
that?
text messages are the
Crazy.
best. And I found it that fast. That fast.
That text message is even more in depth than what I wrote in my notebook. That's awesome.
Yes. Success.
So my regional hegemon, the Pelasgon Pippinger Band, they have outposts on both planets in Kartik, and their huge Vegas-style casino resort on whatever the planet's name is in Pelasgon. Arieto it used to be bubble cities, but the whole world has gone feral. All the people are crazy, and luckily the planet is hospitable enough that they can survive there. But what the Pelasgon Pippinger Band is doing, they're using all those old bubble cities as laboratories. So they're harvesting this gas on Lycomedes, sending it over to Arieto, converting it into Achilles Hector, and then taking it to Pelasgon to sell in their casinos. And I imagine they have a distribution network to get it all over.
Lord knows they have the
all over
assets
the
for that.
sector. Like I said, I have 5 PCs, and not one of them has computers. So I'm going to offer them on day one the option to hire a computer expert. And this is going to be a young lady who was she's a young Irish girl, computer tech.
He said computers. It made you sound like they don't own computers, like in real
What?
life. The way that sounded.
Oh, none of them have the computer skill.
There you go.
No, like
I'm
they
like,
all
I'm like
they're
none
all-
of them. I'm like
they're all
but John
good at
Smith?
computers, but not at computer programming or
Right.
hacking.
Very important
So-
skills to have in a space sci-fi game.
Yeah, somehow I wound up with 5 players, and I told them, like, one of the most important skills is going to be, you're going to need persuasion, you're going to need computers, you're going to need someone that can fly the ship, someone that can navigate through warp space. And they wound up with someone that can navigate through warp space and someone that can fly the ship, but no one wound up with computers as a skill. So I'm going to offer them the chance to hire this young Irish girl who was raised by the Pelasgon Pippinger Band and is a total Achilles Hector addict. And I don't know how bad being an Achilles Hector addict is yet, but I imagine
There'll be
it's
some withdrawals if she can't get any.
yeah, and it's not going to be great.
No, it's gonna be rough.
I can't imagine that it's great.
Right.
So I think that wraps up those 2 planets, or those 2 hexes.
Right.
If we go down to Madavi, we have Huertas, which
Huertas.
Huertas. It's gonna be my. This is where my Spanish Mexican influence is gonna be in my sector. There's xenophiles, which means they love aliens and off-worlders and exotic stuff like that, and they have flying cities. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't talked about a single gas giant planet, and here I have a planet with flying cities. This is the perfect planet to be my gas giant. So this is a gas giant planet, and all around it there are these flying cities that go around, and they collect something out of the gas that is valuable in some way that they can export off world and make money. Then with the xenophile part, I decided that there's some kind of crazy manta ray psychic creature that lives in the gas on this planet, and they fly up to these flying cities and communicate telepathically with the people on those cities, and the people there like worship these alien manta ray.
Did we decide that they're like the size of a blue whale? Aren't they like gigantic?
Let me go look at the alien races real quick.
Right.
I think we
I
decided.
can't remember how big they were. Because they were the ones that are.
No.
They're exotic, aren't they?
I don't know. Let me go to that page in my
I think
notebook.
they're
They're reptilian, I thought.
Are they reptilian? Or are they the THAC, the pacifism and pride?
This isn't even the right page. That's why I can't find it.
I'll just go to the planets.
Yeah, I know.
Because what planet are we on right now?
Two. Huertas. Yeah, it's the THAC.
It's the THAC.
They're human-like lizard manta rays that are telepaths. They're capable of flight, and they're worshipped by the people of Huertas. And you know, there are definitely reasons to bring my player characters here to see what this planet is about. They need to get a cargo crate full of
the gas particles.
Condensed
gas particles.
You know, are my player characters, can they be nice to this? What was it? Pacifism and pride, right?
Right.
Yeah. You know, what does a pacifist do when you injure their pride? When they're very powerful telepaths, you know what I mean? Like, maybe they don't get in a physical confrontation with you, but how much emotional pain can they telepathically put into your brain and still be okay with it when they're this reptilian alien? So I'm excited about that.
We have one psionic player, correct?
I do. I have one psychic out of 5 players.
Huh.
The medic as biopsionics. She hasn't decided what she wants to do as her secondary off skill.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see what happens on that. Dynamine is the other one in this sector, which we've already talked about at the very beginning. This is going to be my perimeter agency, which we didn't really cover that. If you don't know anything about this, the perimeter agencies are groups that it is their mission to hunt down and destroy what's referred to as Maltech, weapons that are capable of destroying whole planets in one shot.
Unbraked AIs.
Yeah, unbraked AIs, nanobots, all of that stuff. Perimeter agencies.
Gene mutation therapy stuff where you're like making superhuman mutants, like that's considered a Maltech.
Yep. So they're going around and trying to shut these places down. They have minimal contact. I don't know, like, they have a lot of contact where they're going out and hunting for stuff, but
the planet itself,
that's their operatives reaching out. Nobody really comes here
to speak to them.
Right. It's a cold world. The other thing that's on this planet is this is the headquarters for the Bratstv Krovi, the big mercenary group. I did it in Google Translator. I hope it's right, but the Bratstv Krovi is it's Blood Brotherhood. They're the biggest mercenary group in the sector. I haven't decided yet if they're affiliated with the Preceptor Archive, if they might even be the same thing. You know what I mean? Maybe the very upper echelon of
the perimeter agency.
The mercenary group is the perimeter agency. I haven't decided for sure. I'm back and forth on that one.
We can let the game tell us that.
Right, but this is the mercenary group that John Smith's character used to be a part of. He received the honorable discharge and has gone into retirement and decided to buy a spaceship and get a crew together and
Right. John
tries
Smith's
to do
character
this.
owns the ship. He's carrying the note.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we've decided. I don't know.
I'm sure somebody will want to argue about it on day one when we
Right.
actually get together and play. But so far, that's what it looks like from
then.
my viewing. So then we get to Nagor and Lamella, which are the two planets in Onditz. So I've got a cold, non-breathable planet in Lamella, and
Again, regional hegemon.
yeah,
Again, it
regional
threw another
hegemon.
one at us, and we're like, oh my goodness. Which this one happened before we kind of did a roundabout way of building
Say what?
these. I said this one happened after. This one happened before the Pivoger band, because
Yeah.
we kind of did a roundabout way of building these planets.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was the fourth one we built.
So we decide. Well, we know there's going to be a regional hegemon here on this radioactive, cold, no oxygen planet, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? And I decide, all right, so it's a space station. So what does this regional hegemon do to keep the other planets around it in line? Because that's the definition of a regional hegemon in the book. So I decide, you know what? Lamella is the prison planet of the sector, and the space station is the working part of the government that keeps this prison running and operating. So cool, that makes sense. I like it. So we look at the next planet because it's a regional hegemon. There's a chance that it has some influence on the local planets. So I look at Nagor, and there's a psionics academy here on a failed colony, and now the world is quarantined. And I'm like, all right, well, the prison government is definitely in charge of running this quarantine on this planet. Why did we decide? Oh, yeah. We went up. So we go up, and I'm like, all right, so we need a corporation to be in charge of the prison system. So we go up and we click on corporations, and we wound up going down, and there's prisons, the Zahidi Combine.
Which is the
Awesome.
coolest name ever.
So we bring up this Zahidi Combine, secretly run by hostile aliens. Okay, cool.
Which we didn't catch that for the longest time. We
No,
kept building the idea, and I think they were even like cool. Like they were like, it was the cool thing, it's the prison planet. It's no big deal.
Right. We
It's
designed
what
a
you do.
regional hegemon around the Zahidi Combine idea before we actually opened up the Zahidi Combine.
Folder or a
Link
that told
and
us that
saw
they were run by hostile aliens, which
Okay.
was the greatest feeling ever.
So we go and we look at at the alien races list, and the second one on the list, their traits are domination and hate. And I mean, if I'm gonna run a prison, yeah, that
And
makes
not just
sense.
so because they're avian, which means they're flying creatures, and they're exotic, which means they're something interesting like rock or fire or something like that.
Right. So we go in and into the Tehei checkmark whatever folder, and they have scales instead of feathers.
Right.
So they're avian but don't have feathers, and they use sonic attacks to stun their prey. Bam! They're freaking huge alien bat monsters,
Yep.
like vampiric bat monsters. What's the thing from that game you like to play the undead race on? That I always play dwarves.
I play the undead race on.
Yeah, you play the It's Warhammer.
Oh,
Fantasy.
Warhammer. Yeah, Warhammer.
What's the
They're
name of
the-
that big bat monster?
Oh, they're Well, now you're putting me on the spot. I'll think of it in a minute. Keep going.
Okay, come back to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, these big, man-sized bat
Vargulf.
vampires, Volgols.
Vargulfs. They're crazy.
they run this prison system.
I would think they look more like
and-
Vargeists, though, the flying ones, the weird.
That was the one I meant. They're
Yeah.
totally capable of flight.
Yeah, the Vargeists.
So I'm looking at these two planets. And I'm like, well, I want maybe the bat monsters are from Nagore. So they start a colony there. They start a psionics academy there, and something about the psionics academy either wakens the bat monsters or aggravates the bat monsters for some reason, and they come and they use their
Psionic
somehow
abilities.
like the bats are psionic and have sonic, stunning noises
It's a
because they're
psionic
bats.
stun. Yeah, but it's
Right.
cheeky.
So somehow they wind up in control of this psionics academy. They wind up in control of the space station. They wind up in control of this prison planet. And now they're stretching out and establishing this huge regional hegemon. And most of their organization are going to be humans that don't know that they're being controlled by these
Bat creatures
ridiculous
that,
bat
if you
monsters.
were to look at one, would think it's just a human because they have the psionic ability to mask their form. And
Yeah.
we have one psychic in our party who would have to, one, be looking for it, and two, roll a cunning check to discover it on the off chance that it happened.
Right. Unless they ever go to prison and the
Right.
bats decide to suck out their blood.
Right,
And
because
then
then,
maybe my players will be strong enough to win in a blood sucking fight.
or maybe not, and we'll make some new character sheets.
We'll see.
We'll see.
So now let's go down to
Well,
all right.
Right there. We're gonna break. We're gonna come back in part 3 because we're at
Okay.
we're at our time for this one. So yeah, we'll catch you right on the next one, guys.